Here's Jake with the Dumb Zone News.
The news is brought to us by Frankel & Frankel Personal Injury Attorneys. If you get in an accident, they are there for you at 214-333-3333. They actually have people on staff that used to work for the insurance companies, so they understand how their minds work. They understand that they are not there for you. Dealing with an insurance company can be a huge beating. And if you are the victim of a personal injury, Frankel & Frankel will help you get what is coming to you. So thank you to Frankel & Frankel for sponsoring today's news.
Thank you so much to the Frankels and their entire team. Now, this was not my top news story an hour ago, but we have an update on the news story that is gripping a nation as a person of interest in the fatal shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, BT, as his coworkers called him, has been ID'd and found after a large manhunt.
Wait, now who found?
The person of interest in this crime.
They're not sure.
He was found in Altoona, Pennsylvania, which is apparently a few hundred miles from New York City. His name, and this is not one of the fake names that he was using, is Luigi Mangione.
Oh, no.
That's his real name.
He's 26 years old, of Towson, Maryland. He was found with, let me go through a gun, a silencer, 4 fake IDs with names used during the killer's stint in New York City, and a manifesto. He is a 26-year-old, like I said. He was valedictorian of his high school class. He went to an Ivy League school, and he was a very, very smart young man. And they've now found his Twitter account where he had, he's about what you would expect. Like, it basically, imagine what you know about me from like my late teens, like 17, 18, 19, up to my mid-20s, if I were also smart. So he's got a lot of stuff in here about, he might have thought the Unabomber had some good ideas. He's got a lot of commentary on how society is actually set up to make you more anxious these days. And the answer to that is just prescribing antidepressants, which then just keeps another industry alive rather than us actually addressing the things that make us anxious. He posted a review of The Anxious Generation, the book. My wife read it. I know Junior did a review of it. I actually don't want to read it because it seems terrifying. He posted about a grandparent in 2013 and another in 2017 that had, in his mind, been mistreated by insurance companies. He worked at an assisted living facility for a few months while he was still in high school. So this was a cause that was close to him. And he subscribed to anti-capitalist and climate change causes. This is all according to the authorities.
Sounds like him.
Yeah. Yeah, he liked a bunch of Teddy K quotes. Said at the time of his graduation from college, I think this is from Penn, but I could have that wrong, that he planned to seek a degree in artificial intelligence. And he did. Masters of Science in Engineering, bachelor's in the same field. This is a very, very, very smart young man.
And it seems like at least his plan was seemingly pretty smart. They didn't catch him right away.
No, I mean, for a manhunt of this size,
how did they end up catching
a public execution, you know what? I don't know. Other than they just kept piecing together clue after clue after clue. Like, they've retraced his steps here,
like he took the train and then an Uber or then a bus. Whoa.
A bus.
Yeah.
I think probably what they did is they saw him going into a bus station at the end of his time in New York, and they just probably tracked every single route that was leaving at around that time. You cross-reference that with video from those outbound where he was going to be going, right? Let's say there's 100 of them. They all have cameras. We know he got on a train around this time. But the move would have been, to be honest, to go into the train station and somehow just wait it out and not go to a train and leave and come back. I don't know how you get you probably have to like have a disguise that you take into a bathroom or something.
Yeah.
But then stay there for like 8 hours. Like, don't just stay in the bathroom. Nobody goes in there.
Yeah.
And if they do, they don't know how long you've been in there. But then exit, come back at a different time and a different get up, and then take a train. Overall, before we get it, or without getting into the, is there any justification for something like this, which is what the online world has been taken with, or probably just people in general. It is kind of disappointing to me to learn this was a guy. It's a guy that was mad about healthcare.
Why? You didn't think that was what it was?
I did, but I had started to convince myself that this was bigger. This was kind of like
an inside
the
job?
madness, yeah. That he had enemies within the insurance, possibly even within United Healthcare.
Because he was going to spill the beans on some nefarious doings.
And so they needed to make it look as if it was a disaffected 20-something whiz kid. So they wrote defend, deny, depose on the bullets. And his backpack, which they found in Central Park, I don't know if you heard this note, was full of Monopoly money.
Yeah, I saw that over the weekend.
Just make it as Mr. Robot, cartoonish as possible.
What's that mean?
Don't you think that's a part of the plan, though?
But that's what I'm saying is I thought that would be part of the plan
Throw him
for
off
the
the
inside
scent.
job. Was
Yeah.
like, okay, this is too ridiculous.
What's
Either
the
way,
Monopoly money mean? Why is that?
probably just means that I guess I don't know, other than just the idea of like money is fake.
Okay. So maybe it was the Brunigs I heard mentioning this.
Man, as soon as I saw that episode drop, I was like, if they're going to do a whole hour on the shooter, I got to listen to this.
Did you hear it?
Not yet.
Okay. I think it might have been them. I'm
Bookmarked
trying to
it.
think who else would I have heard say something like, do they, for every killing in New York, do they commit all these resources in this huge manhunt to, like, check every
Of
video
course not.
camera? And, well, why for this guy then?
Well, I mean, I think you know why.
I know, but
That seems like a pretty, I mean, the same as they would do of any public figure.
this guy wasn't a public figure. In fact, didn't he
Low profile.
Kept a low
painstakingly,
profile. You're right about that.
Yeah. I just thought that was a good point.
It is. I mean, it's a
Just
good
to-
point. Just to
like,
prove
hey, you could
the
do
obvious.
this?
Yeah, you
You
could
can
find
really-
anybody. Yeah.
Kick ass and
Yeah, so when you call the cops and you're like, I think someone stole my car stereo, and they're like, what do you want me to do about it?
right. They probably
could.
could do something about it.
Probably pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of me thinking like this is kind of a letdown, it is still always interesting when people decide to up the ante in their protest of policy. I was going to say like state policy, but it's not that because it's a private healthcare company, but it basically is, right? You're mad about the system. And when somebody decides to go rogue and go off, like that's always going to be a fascinating story that feels like something from the movies. But maybe it's even cooler because this guy's not a professional killer. And he pulled off something pretty professional.
I think he could have gotten away with it if he wanted to.
It kind of feels like he would. I'm with you a little bit.
If you don't want to be caught, you don't write a manifesto and you discard of all the evidence. It seems like this guy would be smart enough to do that.
But that's the thing is I think he at least wanted to send a message. TC and I talked about this a lot last week of you want to send the message, but the real way to send the message would have been to like immolate on the street with your man, like set yourself on fire. Have a manifesto, leave no doubt about why you did this.
That's out of the news in 2 days, though.
No, it's not.
You don't
There's
think?
there's a video of a guy assassinating the CEO.
Oh, you got to do both.
After the
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
thought
I
it
wasn't clear about that.
Because the guy lights himself on fire at the White House twice a year, right?
you do the whole thing, and then you leave the bullets. The backpack of money is somewhere else, even though they don't need to find you. They're going to find your clues. Then you light yourself on fire in Midtown. and you make it very clear this was about this.
Well, then that's clearly that you want to get caught.
Because
I'm wondering if this guy did.
But the thing is he did like a halfway thing where he left all these clues, the deny, defend, oppose thing, the money just toying with him. But for this to really land the way that he seems to have wanted it to land, he had to be caught. Because the manifesto, the learning about his grandparents, all that. I don't know. It's a crazy, crazy story.
This system will never change, right? Like, it seems like it sucks.
Private healthcare?
Yeah. It seems bad.
Yeah, I mean,
Too far in.
That's what I mean. Like, just the whole relying on having to have a job to have insurance, and different jobs have shittier insurance. And
we're certainly one of the only ones who do it this way, and we have decidedly more negative outcomes, even with, like you referenced last week, the whole Canadian, well, you can't get to a doctor forever. Well, it's pretty hard here a lot of times, and I don't know. I don't know how deep we want to go into this, but part of it also is you would be saying, it's like with a lot of things, liberals do this with safety, or they refuse to do it, which is to say, I actually am personally okay if you told me I'm going to be 1% less safe on the streets if it had positive outcomes on the other side. A lot of times liberals like to act like, well, we could fix this problem on one side of the ledger and it'll have no impact on the other. That's usually not how it works. Same thing with healthcare. Like, I'm willing to say I'd probably take a little bit shittier care if it meant more people had it. Because it stands to reason that it might work that way.
Mm-hmm.
But that's somewhat of a non-starter. Do you have to be a killer to have a manifesto?
It certainly implies
or
it,
just
right?
a producer?
the producer manifesto. That's right. Many, many years ago, they had that at the ticket.
They sure did.
Was it called that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely was. Said it
Like when you first worked as a producer, you had to read the producer manifesto on how to produce radio?
Yeah, and while I thought it was silly, I didn't run to make copies of it and give them to Dan.
Yeah. Somebody did, though. It was on the copy machine.
Our very own deny, defend, depose
Yeah.
type. Yeah. The McKinney City Council has unanimously approved a zoning change that will now allow a third passenger airline terminal right here in DFW.
Who did? McKinney?
Yeah.
Why? DFW Airport's so close to my house.
Not mine.
Options, baby. It's because the whole Metroplex is moving north. How many times do I have to tell y'all?
I tell you, man, like when I'm somewhere else staying and I'm staying 45 minutes from an airport, it sucks.
This is for me.
Because then you don't know, how long, what if the traffic gets bad there? And see, at least here I can get over there, even side streets.
You cannot, especially if you travel a lot, you cannot understate how important that is. When we lived in West Fort Worth, that was also when we were traveling a lot. You get home from like a 12-hour two-leg flight, and you're like, we have a 45-minute drive across the Metroplex.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, dude, North Texas and TCU flew out of Fort Worth. So getting back after night games at 2 or 3 a.m. and then having an hour drive home. Horrible.
I guess you knew that it was at least going to be quiet on the roads, maybe, but still, you're in the car.
And you're not sleeping well on the airplane. And
we're home in 10 minutes right
horrible.
now, and it's pretty choice.
Yeah, I guess I would feel that when we do a Stars flight because we get back at Love Field.
Yeah.
At 2 in the morning.
But as people move all the way to the red, they're going to need their own airport halfway between there and downtown.
Wasn't there always there was some kind of a law that you couldn't have an airport? Or
is that the Wright Amendment?
Is that what that is?
That's as far as I can really take
right.
that. So,
named after the Wright brothers?
Yeah. Yep. The mayor says the city is now in the process of getting commitments from at least 2 commercial airlines.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, and there's also tell me how vague this is. And I don't mean to take a shot at Trump. All politicians do this, but he's still doing the they asked him, he had a big interview over the weekend, and they asked him about
The biggest.
his healthcare plan, and he's like, "We've got concepts."
All right.
And, they will turn into a plan.
Just like the air raid offense.
It's just concepts. The mayor said in an interview, the mayor of McKinney, "We're in the process of designing an infrastructure right now that we will begin construction on in early 25. We do expect that we will have major commercial passenger service airlines leaving in 2026. Another project that I am not at liberty to talk about yet, but will be a destination people fly in from around the world and country to experience. I can't tell you yet, but it's going to be Paris,
So
London."
in McKinney, there's going to be something that will draw people from around the world. What do you think it could be? Water slide?
Dude, perfect.
Do you think it hits for, do they translate it? Or not translate it, but dub it or subtitle it?
In other countries?
Yeah. That's a market they should.
Why don't we do that?
What, you're going to just, do Mandarin?
If it meant we can get rich.
Speaking of, I personally think that representation matters, so I'd prefer, a Chinese person being the Chinese dude perfect, but whatever, you kind of have a Scarlett
Yeah,
Johansson.
whoever you want to add. But the three of us doing trick shots in China, let's do it.
Dude, so my wife is in Shanghai, and she's 14 hours ahead, so we don't, it's really weird talking.
Man.
So we do talk in the morning, because it's 4 here and 6:30 there. So I'll talk to her, she's and then by the time I'm getting the kid up, she's going to bed. But she was just kind of giving me the rundown.
Phone sex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In
Nice.
fact, you know what I did this morning? This is...
I know it's not FaceTime because you couldn't figure that out yesterday.
No, I did. That
Jake
was
tried
a
to FaceTime.
headphone issue. I was trying to call him FaceTime audio from my computer so I could be looking at stuff while I talked to him, and my headphones were just jacked up. I took a bath this morning. Legs were a little sore, so I had my laptop in the bath, on the little stand, editing
doesn't
audio.
Can you electrocute yourself if you drop the laptop in the bathtub?
I don't think so. I'd be out of laptop, but
I don't think you'd be electrocuted either.
yeah.
Rob, any thought? What's that? Can you electrocute yourself if you drop your laptop into the bathtub?
Not plugged in.
No? Okay. Well, then go ahead.
Hair dryer or a toaster.
Yeah.
Some electric, high electric.
Toaster, you would die. That's like an old TV
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Good Looney Tunes and stuff.
Has
as
anyone
well.
ever actually done that?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. But anyways, what I was going to tell you guys, we were, I don't know how this came up, but she said that in Mandarin, I want to say, because there's two different languages primarily that they speak over there and tons of different dialects of them. But anyways, there is a filler word, just a fill-in word for thing. It's basically like saying like that, and I'll have something like that. But she said this was happening at dinner. And phonetically, it sounds exactly like the N-word in English. She's like, so I'm just sitting here at a dinner, and I'm just hearing...
And they're just firing it back and forth?
Yeah. She's like, it is the weirdest...
She's looking around
yeah, what are we doing here? And I looked it up, and there's Reddit threads, and...
Did she take advantage of that unique
Oh,
situation?
when in Rome.
Did she use the AH?
God. Texas has been identified this holiday season as the state with the highest risk of porch piracy.
I saw a police video over the weekend. Tips on avoiding porch pirates.
Was it from South Lake, and they did a bunch of wacky bits?
No, it was
about the
Dallas.
Wet Bandits or something.
They're just being regular. The UPS, I guess, I don't know if it's Amazon, UPS, whatever. Lately, though, when we've been getting deliveries, they knock on the door.
Really?
And then they because the dogs go nuts.
I don't love that.
But you know that there's something been left there.
I know, But
UPS normally knocks.
Is it UPS?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I didn't know if it was Amazon's doing it lately
No,
or
Amazon doesn't, but the UPS guy in my neighborhood, he always knocks.
which is a good bit.
Yeah.
it can be, but I'm at a very precarious stage here with dog that barks at knocking and child that I would sometimes like to not be awake.
Ah, yes. Well, you got to put a sign then.
That's true. That's on me.
Yeah, put a sign that says
Please don't knock.
Man, I remember when I used to have
Baby
to do,
on board.
like all of us had to do the door-to-door passbook sales and stuff, and you'd see that sign, you're like, whatever, bitch. I'm knocking on your door. I'm trying to move these PBs. And now I'm like, please, God.
not me. I was looking for a sign to tell me that I can't attempt to sell here.
You weren't
I hate
ABC as a guy, as a kid? No,
Just
dude, I'm
hate
with you.
selling, man.
I was terrible at it.
And people are
Absolutely terrible.
mean. And that's probably why I buy everything from any kid that stops
Yeah.
by. I buy it.
Yeah.
And my wife will get pissed. That's why I send her. I send my Karen. Everybody needs a Karen, man. It's so great.
I feel like somebody did this bit,
I don't have to. What?
but it's a good
Everybody
one.
needs a Karen?
Yeah, like a renta. There might even have been one, like a news story I did about it, where you just have them call customer service, give them your info.
I always do that with her, though.
Yeah,
Oh, man, the restaurant didn't give me the sandwich I wanted. Well, let me call. I'll get us a free one for next time. Because I will never do that.
I know, I know.
And then she'll be like, how can you make this right for us? And then you got some 19-year-old
Wow.
kid on the other phone line like, I don't know.
What are you, the mafia?
Yeah. And then she ends up getting a free sandwich for the next time.
Oh yeah,
But to me, then
Jappy
it's a
does it too.
beating because you can't put that into the app. So you have to call and say,
Yeah.
hey, I have this coupon for a free sandwich. Or like the manager, Marie, told me 3 weeks ago that I would get a free sandwich, and she said she'd write it down and put it in the office. And so I
That's
never
a bet. I'll put it on your account.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, with her gone this week, the house is not like totally done, and she's telling me like, text the guy, ask him, see if they'll be there for this. They need to wrap up this. I'm like, I got news for you. Nothing is being done at the house this week because I'm not asking them anything.
Right. That's her.
It's
That's
just
her
not
thing.
happening. There's your news.
Oh.
I waited till you leaned forward
The
thinking that I had
Dumb Zone
read the
News.
offense.
No, that's right. I was.
Like and subscribe.